Now it's time to welcome my good friend and co-host, Jeff Small, president of Arbor Financial Services, a retirement income store located in Melbourne, Florida. Jeff, of course, is our very own brand ambassador for the Retirement Income Store and Amazon best-selling author of the book, Turning Financial Planning Right Side Up. And we also want to bring back one of the best friends of the income generation, our good friend Steve Forbes, chairman, CEO, editor-in-chief at Forbes Media. Steve has written several best-selling books, and he's also campaigned for president twice. Steve, thanks so much for being back with us.
Good to be with you again. Thank you.
All right, so what's going to happen on Tuesday? Tell us, we're all ears.
Well, if I actually knew that, I would be in Vegas making bets on it so I could win enough money to finally get on the Forbes rich list. Right now, I'll give some predictions, but I would not bet one Zimbabwe dollar, which is about 10 billion Zimbabwe dollars to one US dollar these days on the exchange rate. But I think Trump will actually win the Electoral College. I think he'll win states like Florida, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. And I think the GOP will maintain the Senate. If Trump wins the White House again, they can have 50-50 in the Senate and still maintain it because Vice President Pence will be there to break any ties. But if Trump loses and we lose the Senate, then we're in for short term, a very grim period, very grim.
What's worst case scenario? I mean, you talked last time you were on the show a couple months ago about extra regulation and all the things that could happen. But let's say worst case, we get a blue sweep. What does that mean for income generation members?
Well, for the market and for the economy, it's bad news. The economy's done very well since the lockdowns of March and April. Blue states are lagging red states because they've been slower to open up, but it's been a remarkable recovery. But we still have a distance to go. When you actually shut an economy down, it takes time to rebuild it. And so you look at what the Democrats are proposing, and make no mistake, the left wing of the Democrat Party is going to push hard to get this done as quickly as possible if they have control of the Senate, because they'll abolish the filibuster. So you take a 40% capital gains tax, that's going to hit equities. You take a 33% rise in the business tax, that means less money for business investment, less money for salaries for workers. You take a huge rise in the personal income tax, that means less savings, less investing. Bad stuff. Regulations, we know regulations are the equivalent of taxation, very damaging to small businesses, which hurts the economy. We all know they want to destroy oil and the gas industry. Yeah, Biden is telling the truth when he says he won't ban fracking. He'll just smother it by regulations, just as they did, Biden and Obama did with the coal industry during the early 2000, between 2009 and 2017. They bankrupted most of those companies.
Yeah, and Biden's
bad news all around.
And Biden's recent comments about oil might have very well pushed the state of Pennsylvania over the Trump camp. At least that's all we can hope for. Jeff?
Well, yeah, Steve, I can't wait for $4 a gallon gas. I mean, that's exactly what they're going to do by executive orders. You mentioned in the prior show, he can do a lot of damage just with executive orders if Biden gets elected. He's going to reinstate all the old Obama energy policies, and they're going to push gas prices up to $4 a gallon. You know who gets hurt the worst on that $4 a gallon gas, Steve? Their voters. Why do their voters even listen to them? I have no idea.
Well, what's even more amazing is why people in Silicon Valley, why people on Wall Street who should know better in terms of the right kind of environment for growth. I guess Wall Street does it as a sort of a protection money payments that hopefully they won't make the hanging so painful when they get in power. But they should have no illusions. The far left of the Democrat Party is out for blood, and they want a clean sweep of everything. They want to control everything. So these equity funds that are supporting them, carried interest out the window. That'll be one of the first things they do. So I don't know what planet these people are on. And the other thing to keep in mind is when they say, oh, well, the Federal Reserve will pump in more money or the government spending will keep the economy growing, it's nonsense. Though printing money, we know where that's going to lead. And Government spending, where do they get the money from? They get it from real resources from the economy. If you depress the economy, government doesn't create resources. It's a formula for what we had in the 70s, stagnation and inflation.
Yeah. I love what you said about protection money. So I guess what you're saying is the new realm, AOC, Bernie Sanders and company, Pelosi, they're basically the new version of the Teflon Don, apparently, or they could be if things don't go the way we hope on Tuesday. We have much more coming up in terms of words of wisdom from our good friend Steve Forbes in just a minute. We'll be right back. Now it's time to bring back in our co-host Jeff Small, as well as our good friend and guest Steve Forbes, Chairman, CEO, Editor-in-Chief at Forbes Media. So Steve, I understand all the reasons why Biden presidency, at least according to the books, is bad for small business, ultimately bad for the economy. But short term, can we ignore the fact that they're trying to have Congress put $3 trillion of money into taxpayer hands? Could it just be almost like we get a false positive, a real little economic surge at the beginning of the presidency? And should Biden become president, then people think, well, everything's really okay? Your thoughts?
Well, in terms of short-term stuff, they will try that, but markets try to anticipate the future. And if Biden wins and has Congress and he starts proposing these tax increases, the markets are not going to be fooled by any short-term boost from the government, because they know that's just it, short-term, and then bad things happen. And you don't get a sustainable growing economy without positive investment from the private sector, without people taking risks, without stable money. And look what they're going to do on health care. When Biden says he favors a public option, that means a government insurance company, which will have subsidies, which will drive out private insurance or force private insurance to merge in with the government. So the markets aren't going to be fooled if they follow through on that leftist agenda.
Yeah, well, you think after the struggles they've had trying to insure things like Medicare and Social Security, seemingly not doing such a great job, I agree. We certainly don't want to go in that direction. So cross our fingers and toes and certainly hope for sure we don't have a blue sweep. Jeff?
Well, Steve, the markets may not get fooled, but our clients are our customers are the income generation, the viewers and the listeners here are the ones that always get hurt, and they're basically bag holders in this kind of environment. But Wall Street's giving double the money to Biden than they're giving to Trump. So you have to think that they like the global flair of what Biden is going to bring to the table and how, China's going to be made in China, not made in the USA. But needless to say, my phone has been ringing off the hook the last couple of weeks from investors who are saying, what do we do going forward? There's so much uncertainty in the markets. And today we see that going forward. So my question to you is, what would a protracted decision and who the president's going to be do to the markets going forward? And what should investors, our viewers, the income generation, do on that basis? If it takes a month or 2 months to go on in the election, figure out who the president's going to be, what should they do at this time, Steve?
Well, if it's just about the presidency, that would be one thing. But what happens in the Senate? If it looks like the Republicans are going to keep the Senate, that would remove a major uncertainty out there. And so that means if Biden did win the presidency, there'd be at least some restraints in terms of packing the Supreme Court, gutting labor laws and doing away with right-to-work laws, raising taxes substantially. There'd be a blocking there, effective block. But so again, it depends on the uncertainty we have. I worry less about an uncertain outcome because of litigation and the like than who actually takes the oath of office. The Congress comes in early January and the president is January 20th. If you want to go to the extreme, all you have to do is go back to 1876 when they had a contested election, a bitterly contested election, and it wasn't until the day before inauguration that they finally determined who would be taking the oath of office the following day. We won't know until we see it. And so speculating is fine, but one reason I think the markets are volatile is we just don't know.
Okay.
Well
Good,
put.
well put, yes. So 60 seconds. What's your best feel for a market forecast in 2021 under a Trump presidency versus under a Biden presidency? What should our income generation members know, at least from your experience?
Well, if we have Trump in a Republican Senate, it'll overall be pretty good. We'll get another tax cut. Deregulation will continue. And with Biden in there, it's the exact opposite. If they have the Congress, it's going to be very, very bloody. And short term, the markets are going to take a hit. But by the way, if Biden gets in, I think it's going to trigger such an adverse reaction, especially when Kamala Harris kicks him out under the 25th Amendment, that we're going to get the roaring 20s of the right kind. We have to remember 100 years ago, the roaring 1920s started out very badly and then had a spectacular run. And if we don't make mistakes, we can have another roaring 20s.
So you do believe that, just in closing, that if even under a Biden presidency, you do believe that there's a good chance that he won't be in the Oval Office for the entire 4 years?
No way. They will kick him out, force him out, because the left wants a real lefty in there, and they know Kamala Harris is that. They know Biden can be rolled over, but they want their own in there. So you're gonna see some pretty ugly stuff of trying to get Joe Biden out and Kamala Harris in the Oval Office. But either way, I think by 2024 you're going to see a severe reaction, and we'll be inoculated from this left-wing socialist kind of ideology for a good long time.
Yeah, well, all right. Can't wait to talk to you again after the election, after the results are known, to see how things are going.
Yes, we'll all be experts by then,
right.
maybe.
That's right. They will have good predictions. So, Steve, thanks so much for being back on the show. We really do appreciate it, as always. And you stay with us. We have a lot more coming up in just a moment in the Income Generation. I'm David Scranton. I'm here with Jeff Small, and we'll be right back.